Hey guys, it's Joshua Reviews, and ladies and gents, we're going to be talking about a movie that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. So, for those of you not aware, or if you're new to this channel, or maybe you've seen some of my videos, I'm a Christian, and last year my friend brought up this movie that was coming out called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. I had never heard of it. I didn't even know it was coming out until he brought it up, and I looked up the trailer and I was like, this looks pretty good. This looks solid. And I found out through my mother that it's based off a play and a book. Now, I haven't seen the play or, read the book, but I was excited for it nonetheless. I was very curious to see, a Christian movie tackle the nativity story, but through the eyes of a play. Now, something that I think it works about this movie and the concept is that it's really a discussion about faith. It also gets you to question a lot of things. So sorry if this is going to be, but let's talk about it. So this movie is about Karen from Halloween. Sorry, that's what I recognize her from. Anyway, so she volunteers to do the pageant because the original lady who was going to, or the original lady that was in charge of making sure the pageant goes according to plan, she broke her 2 legs, so she has to take over for her. And throughout the film, we see bits and pieces of this group of kids named the Herdmans, and they are probably like some of the worst kids imaginable. I mean, these are like South Park type kids, right? Like they cuss, they swear, Well, there's a funny moment where they go in church and they steal the donation money, which I was like, damn, if that was real. But anyways, the one chick, or not the one chick, I'm sorry, that sounded really weird. The one girl, what's her name? I'm sorry, I said chick, that was so weird. Trying to find her name. Well, anyways, the main, who is it? This girl right here. She is the one who gets the idea for her and her brothers and sister to perform in the play, and they've never heard of the nativity story. And something I really liked about this movie is that throughout the film, they kind of talk about the nativity story like they're talking about it for the first time, even though they clearly mention in the film most people have heard the nativity story, but people like the Herdmans have never heard of it. So something I really liked was how it was almost like you're watching the movie, but you're hearing the story for the first time, if that makes sense. Even if you've heard the nativity story, that was something I thought really worked about this movie, is how they chose to talk about the nativity story, which something I did the other day before watching this for a second time. I watched the nativity story, and it was pretty good, but it was kind of funny that I watched that, and then I watched this immediately after, so I had kind of like a clear reference and frame of mind of like what went down. And I think overall this movie is solid. This is a solid Christmas movie. It reminded me a lot of movies like Christmas Story, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow, and Christmas Day, so stay tuned. But something I really liked about it was it really captured that, small town Christmas setting that I think a lot of Christmas movies sometimes try to replicate, especially from Christmas Story, but don't really quite match it. I think this works exceedingly well, and I like all the characters in this movie, even the Herdmans. You're supposed to kind of, they're not meant to be dislikable, they're just kind of meant to be like, oh my gosh, like how dare you say something like that in church, that's crazy. But something I liked about this movie is that they kind of call out a specific group of people at church. Now, I don't want to paint a certain picture here, but not everyone at church represents the nature of Christ, or a lot of people who go to church sometimes don't fully represent who Christ is, and they don't live Christ-like. And that was something I liked about the movie, because the group that normally would perform the play or, be in charge of performing it, they are like calling out Judy Greer's character, and they're just like, hey, like you need to kick out the Herdmans. And she's like, why kick them out? Like Jesus would want us to, help these kids? Why are we trying to kick them out? It's like, well, because they're bad and they might ruin our public image. It's like, is that really more important than, representing Christ through a play? Like, and that was something I liked about it. I liked that it wasn't afraid to call out that specific group of churchgoers. Not to say everyone who goes to church is like that, but, I think we've all, if we've been to church, have met some person like that. I've definitely had friends who've gone to church and have, not experienced Christ-like people, and it's very sad because that sort of thing does happen. And it's kind of crazy to me that people think that, like, oh, I'm being Christian-like. It's like, no, because what a Christian means is to be in a relationship with Christ, and they're not doing that. So I really like that this movie called that out. And also, this movie is hilarious. It manages to tackle its message very, the way it tackles its message is very smart. Again, you don't root against the Herdmans. You feel kind of bad for them as the film goes on. You're kind of like, oh, those kids they shouldn't be doing that. But I do like how over the course of the film, we learn more about the Herdmans, and Judy Greer's character tries to really get down to the fundamental reason of why we're doing the play and why it's so special, especially to represent who Christ is and what Joseph and Mary went through during that night, on Christmas night. So yeah, there is a lot to like about this movie. The kid actors are also really good. The acting in this movie is good, but look at how many kids are in this movie. There's so many, and they all nail it when it comes to the performances, which, that's something that's tricky to do. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the director's first movie, so what a way to get your career going. I know he's worked on the shows like The Chosen, but what a good first movie. I've never seen the play or read the book, but he probably had a lot of pressure put under him because he wanted to tell this story for so long. And it's a good story. It's a solid story, and I think if you're a Christian, or even if you aren't a Christian, I think it's important to watch, because movies like this, I think, really get down to the fundamental reason of what Christmas is and who it's for. And there's a part where Judy Greer's character says Christmas is for everyone. Jesus didn't come to, appease the world. He came to save it. And that's something that I really admire about this movie. You don't see that in a lot of modern movies. Talking from personal experience, a lot of Christian movies just flat out suck. Movies like God's Not Dead, hate it. There are so many cringy, just terrible Christian movies. So it's very refreshing to see this one not only be good, but do well, because this movie did super well at the box office and critically. So very happy about that. But overall, guys, this is a really good movie. I think even if you aren't Christian, I think that this is just a fun Christmas movie that's heartwarming and just nails the Christmas tone. Nowadays, some movies just don't really know how to handle Christmas and the theme, and I think that this movie succeeds in that. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and give this movie an A. I think it's solid, and I think you should do your favor and check it out. Anyways, guys, tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and guys, then it'll be Christmas. It's kind of crazy we got here this quick. It's wild. So, to wrap up Christmas month, we are going to be taking a look at Christmas Story and A Christmas Story Christmas. So, stay tuned for that. See you guys tomorrow, and see you later.